Buffalo Bills on the road at the New England Patriots. This is another massive, massive game. Look, we'll get to some stinkers later, but this is another massive game here. As we sit right now, the Patriots are 2.5 point home favorites, total of 43.5 across the board right now. So we have the Patriots coming off of a big loss to the Colts this past week. We have the Bills, who, look, the Bills do what the Bills do. The Bills smash bad teams. If you look over the course of the season, the Bills go out against bad teams and they just absolutely destroy them. And so here we go. I'm not going to say for all the marbles, but this game goes a long, 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 long way as to seeding, as to where these teams may or may not end up in the grand scheme of the playoff picture. So I'm throwing out the first game completely altogether. I know you could at least draw the conclusion that, oh, well, you know what? The Patriots can just run all day long on the Bills if they want to. Again, the Bills knew it was coming and they still couldn't stop it. I think that's at least a fair argument. I also think that NFL teams are able to make adjustments. They're NFL players, and I think that the Bills will have made some adjustments here whenever they meet the New England Patriots this week. Brad, the only thing is about this game, if you look at the weather report, and it is a little early in the week, but it does look like this game might have wind again. So we might not see the exact same thing that we saw the first time around, but we might have another wind game here.
Yes, I would say the last I saw it was about 15 miles an hour, right? Let me just check that.
That's about what I saw too, yeah.
I see. The one I'm looking at now says down to 8 miles an hour on average. So that's almost no impact.
Yeah, that's great.
So I can't shake the feeling that the Patriots are built to beat the Bills.
Yes.
Right? They're built to run the ball against a relatively light defense, and then they're built to confuse Josh Allen. Because like that great game Allen played against the Bucks, they were blitzing the entire game, whereas the playbook for how to slow down the Bills this season is sit in a cover 2 shell like a lot of teams are doing and make him beat you 10 times. And the Bucks didn't do that. The Patriots didn't really need to do that the first time around because of that wind. But I suspect that will be the game plan, and the Bills haven't really shown they can beat that, and they haven't really shown they can stop a big, powerful team running on them like the Colts, like the Patriots did. So I don't think it's a big edge at all. I think probably -2.5 is probably a fair line, maybe -2.75. But I would lean to the Patriots. I mean, the last thing is the receivers are banged up here on both sides. No Cole Beasley for the Bills, possibly no Kendrick Bourne for the Patriots, possibly no Aguilar as well. So we might see a lot of running.
Yeah, Aguilar dealing with a concussion, so him trying to get out of the concussion protocol. We know for sure Beasley won't play. He is unvaccinated, so with him testing positive, he is going to be out. Now, Emmanuel Sanders might be back. Don't really think that moves the needle for you one way or the other, but Emmanuel Sanders might be back in there. Gabe Davis has really kind of taken over as legit. As that number 2 guy there for them, as it is anyway. Stephen, I did play this in a teaser. Like I mentioned, I love that Packers game earlier in the week. If you're watching this, I love that game. So I went ahead and paired that up with this Bills team to getting this up to 8.5. I don't see this Patriots team constructed as they are currently with the players we know that are going to be out there being able to really beat anybody by double digits at this point in time. I mean, it is a power running team with a limited look. He has had a good rookie season, and he's a rookie. Not every rookie is going to be Herbert and Burrow from last year. That's just not going to be the way it is. So he has a limited amount of skill set stuff that he does. They don't ask him to do too much there for this Patriots team. And so you're going to give me 8.5 points here with this one. I understand what happened in the first game. They might run it down their throats. I think the Bills have more success through the air. They score more in this one. I can't see this one getting out of hand. So I'll take the 8.5 in a game that's only totaled at 43.5.
Yeah. In the context of a teaser leg, it makes total sense, right? It is the patented teaser leg that you want. A low total, you're getting up through the 3 and the 7. For me personally, I just like the other side more at a straight up bet as opposed to having to get 2 legs to cash it. So wouldn't shock me in the least if it falls in between there and we both win our bets. I bet New England -2 on the look ahead. Nothing has changed my mind with the handicap of this game going into that wind game from before, even though I am throwing out that wind game in terms of what the Buffalo offense could do. But Buffalo can't stop the run. I mean, Brad laid that out perfectly. They are not built for it. You can make adjustments all you want. They knew they were running the ball every single play of that wind game, and they still were able to do enough to win the game, with the exception of 3 passes from Mac Jones. And what have they done since then? They gave up 5 yards a carry plus the Leonard Fournette. And even last week against Carolina, they gave up 5 yards per carry. So Jonathan Taylor crushed him a couple of weeks before that too. I just think the Patriots have a top 5 or a top 3 defense as well on the other side of the ball. And I know there's been a lot of talk out in sports gambling, Twitter and social media and the talking heads on TV that they're saying the Patriots have faced a soft schedule of quarterbacks. Well, the same can be said about the Bills' defensive metrics as well. So if that's what you believe, then maybe the over is what you should play in this game with a total that's sitting below 45. We're sitting at 43.5 as we record this on Thursday. So the over might actually be, there's all kinds of angles I like in this game. But if you're asking me to pick a side, I'm still going to stick with the Patriots in this one, even though the Bills are going to be able to throw the ball a little bit more in what should be an easier wind situation. I'm just not crowning Josh Allen at this point after a couple of weeks of looking better throwing the ball on paper. But if you dig in, still just 5.7 yards per attempt against the Bucs secondary. He needed 100 yards rushing to get that game to OT. 6.2 yards per attempt and less than 50% completion percentage against Carolina, less than 55% completion percentage. So this still isn't the elite Josh Allen that we saw last year and in that game against the Chiefs when the Chiefs had the worst defense in the league. And the last big piece I'm going to mention here that we need to monitor is, yes, it's just Cole Beasley right now, but we don't know for a fact that there won't be more positive tests. If there's one, there can be more. So if you want to back Buffalo, I would strongly recommend that you wait just to make sure that there aren't more COVID positives, because they also have their starting guard, Joe Feliciano, on the COVID list, who tweeted that he had to go to the emergency room to get COVID treatment this past weekend. And Deion Dawkins, their starting tackle, was in the hospital too this summer. He's back on the COVID list again. So that O-line is in rough shape right now as well against a very strong Patriots defense.
I do like the overlook in this one. I think people maybe are a little bit jaded from that first matchup, and maybe this is a little bit getting a little bit. I mean, again, if this is normal conditions, these teams should be able to score on each other as well. So I kind of do like an overlook there in this one.